All right. Hello, everybody. My name's Lisa with IVF Manifesting a Miracle, and I'm so excited to be talking with a very special guest, Jessica Veit. She is based here in Colorado and is a fellow fertility sister, amazing warrior, just all around badass. So I'm really excited to have you on this talk today, and just consider you, like we barely have, we've met in person one time, and I kind of want to share the story of how we got to meet, but I'm really honored to be along this journey with you and see where you're at now and the growth, where you've come, where you started. And can you introduce yourself a little bit and kind of share how long has your journey been?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So I'm Jessica. We started our journey in 2013.
Oh my goodness.
So I met my husband actually at a concert at Red Rocks here in Colorado in 2009. And, we started kind of trying to conceive like pretty soon after that. So like 2013, and just doing the whole timed intercourse and Clomid cycles, and it just wasn't working for us. So we went to our OB, and of course the first line of defense through them was Clomid. And what was the other one? What's the other? Is it Femara maybe?
Oh, Femara. No, we never did any of those early things. They were like, IVF is out for you.
You just went straight to IVF, right?
Straight to IVF.
Okay. Yeah, see, I wish we would have done that, because I don't want to say wasted, but we learned a lot, over the years. But we did, it was almost a full 2 years of that, of just the timed intercourse and then Femara and Clomid. Obviously that wasn't working. So then our OB referred us to a fertility specialist. And then
this was a couple years later or pretty soon?
Yeah, so we went to the fertility specialist in, what was that? Sorry, I have it all written down here. 2016.
Okay.
So from 2016 to 2018, we were at a clinic in Denver, which I won't say the names, but so yeah, we were
current one.
Yep. Yeah, so we were there, for a couple years, and we did 6 IUIs with them, and all of them failed. They were all medicated too. So we did the injections with them and the trigger shots and, the whole deal.
Yeah.
And then kind of at the end of that journey, we were kind of left with just doing IVF. So that was like a huge stepping stone for us, because I never in a million years thought that we would, have to do IVF to conceive our child.
Yeah, you never think you're going to go down this road. And
yeah.
Every situation is so unique and so different. And so that was 2018?
Yeah, so 2018 is when we started IVF.
Okay.
And we had like a really successful, I thought round. So we retrieved 19 eggs, 17 fertilized, and then we ended up with 8 embryos.
That's really good.
Really good. And we didn't test them or anything. My body responds so great to drugs. So it was nice. I was like full of eggs and was like so confident, and we thought for sure, it was going to work for us.
You didn't do the PGS testing for any of them?
We didn't. So at our first clinic, it wasn't recommended because of our age. We were still young, and the embryos, they said, looked really super healthy, and it wasn't recommended. We're like, okay, great. Like, we're in a good situation. And so we did our first transfer. It was recommended to do a frozen transfer. So I let my body kind of rest, for a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started our transfer. When was that? Our first one was 2018, sometime in 2018. And we transferred 1 embryo, thought for sure it was going to work, and it didn't. So then we did a second one, transferred 2 embryos, and that didn't work either. And then my clinic at the time suggested maybe to do an ERA. So we did that, and that came back pre-receptive. So it was pretty much just saying that I needed 12 more hours of progesterone.
Wow.
And then, so me and Ryan like thought, okay, this is it. Like, this is why it's not working for us. And did another transfer with 2 embryos again, and it failed and it didn't work. So jumped right back into it. So this was in April.
Same, different clinic? Same clinic.
Same clinic.
Okay.
Yep, same clinic. Didn't switch our protocol, didn't do anything different. And kind of fought with them back and forth. Just, there was a lot of things that I want to be careful with what I say. But come to find out, we had figured out that the embryos that they were transferring were deceased at the time of transfer. So this had happened twice. So we did 2 transfers where the embryos weren't alive, essentially.
Oh my goodness. So how do they
So
okay. So they figured that out.
And then so our last transfer we did with them, it was almost, we went into it as we knew it wasn't going to work. And I just wanted my embryos back because I knew that they weren't going to transfer, because we were already thinking, okay, we're going to switch clinics and go to somebody new. And yeah, so that's what we did. We went in there for our fourth transfer. Fourth transfer, transferred 3 embryos. And of course it didn't work. And so at that time, you know, when I found out it didn't work, it was hard, you know, because I was hopeful that, oh, maybe this is our miracle round. But it didn't work.
Did they ever tell you, like, yeah, maybe we should have done the PGS testing, or did they?
Nothing.
Nobody
And
ever.
Okay. I had asked several times for the intralipid infusion because I have thyroid disorders, and I swore, like, I kept telling my husband, my body is killing these embryos. Like, it just thinks that it's a foreign object, and it's killing it right away, whether they were alive or deceased or, you know, whatnot.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of research on intralipids and found that actually, like, helps with the natural killer cells to kind of like turn them off and kind of make your body calm and not try to fight, you know, these embryos.
You and I posted the interlipids, which who knows if that's one of the magic pills, but
right,
that was advice from me too. We had only 1 embryo the whole time. And so they did everything to optimize their chances of it working for our 1 embryo. But I did 2 rounds of interlipids. How many did you do?
Yeah, we did 2 also. So at our new clinic, Conception.
Sorry, I'm like stepping forward.
No, you're fine. No, yeah, you're good. But yeah, with our new clinic, we ended up doing an intralipid infusion the week before, or a couple days before transfer, and then, like, again at 7 weeks pregnant.
Okay.
So.
So when you left your clinic, were you starting from ground zero again, or did you had some embryos to transfer?
No, we didn't have any embryos to transfer.
Oh my gosh, girl.
So we were starting completely over. So that happened in May of last year, and we ended up going on a trip. So we went to Hawaii because we hadn't been on a trip, vacations, splurged on anything, you know, like all of our funds and emotion was going towards this since 13.
4 rounds. And how many rounds of IUI again?
We did 6 rounds of IUIs, and then an IVF retrieval, and then 4 frozen embryo transfers.
That's crazy.
So it was just, you know, yeah.
Oh gosh.
There's just a lot of money.
I don't even get into the cost, but like, I don't even know how you did that.
Yeah. I honestly, like, looking back, I don't know either. It's like, we've been in the same house. It's small. It's like, now that we are finally blessed with a child, we can't really, you know, move right now because, but, you know, it's fine. It's so, I do it all over again. But
going back, I met you in June at the fertility walk.
Yes.
Right. And had you already gone to Kauai then? We
went in July.
July. Okay.
Yeah. So right after I saw you, we went to Kauai, and then I met with Dr. Green at Conceptions in May. And then we started our second IVF round with them in September.
Okay.
So, but same thing. So I responded really well to the meds. They did things different though. Every single medication we took was different. Timing, how we did it. We did down stimulation, so like the Lupron injections for a while.
Yeah.
We did birth control, which I never did.
Oh.
Yeah, so everything was different, which was nice because I was afraid like going into this round it would just be the same thing.
Right.
You know?
You got a start and then a fresh new outcome.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of ironic. So I made 19 eggs. So they retrieved 19 and then 8 of them fertilized. So only half about this time.
Okay.
And then 5 made it to PGS testing. So we have 5 babies.
Yay.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you just transferred 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know, I'm pretty sure that's typically what they advise.
Yeah, Dr. Green was so funny. He was like, if you can emotionally and financially convince me that you want twins right now, that's totally fine and we'll transfer 2. But you have to prove it to me. And we just look at each other. We're like, we're not ready for that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, your story is, I mean, like many, just very long. I mean, you've gone through tons of highs and tons of lows. Can you kind of share like in looking back, like the hardest parts of it for you? What would have been like the most challenging parts of this ride?
I think the hardest part, honestly, was just seeing the pain that was inflicted on my family and Ryan, my husband, Ryan, like just month after month and year after year. It was like, it was so sad. And, my sisters and our sister-in-law and my brother, they all started having kids. And it was almost like, I was so happy for them. We were so happy for them, but you could tell that they were hesitant to share certain things with us because of like what we were going through.
Yeah.
So that was really hard.
And
it's still, it's even though.
Yeah. Tell me where you're at. How many weeks? I didn't really get to reveal that. How far
15 weeks today, actually.
Congratulations.
With a baby boy. Yeah, so it's just it's still so surreal and bizarre. It's like my belly's growing and my body's changing, but I'm like, oh, it's just I'm bloated or I ate too much for lunch. It still isn't like sinking in. So
and we've communicated a bit, and I read a lot of your posts and get to see kind of where your head's at and everything, and the uncertainty, right? Like just because you're pregnant, like that's a huge milestone to get to that point. And every step along this way is a huge milestone. And 15 weeks, like you want to celebrate it all. Like, are you kind of coming to the realization like, yes, I'm really pregnant and this is working out for me? And the doubt creeps in, no doubt. Right? Like once you've gone through this process and infertility, like it kind of is a part of you forever. Never like it doesn't just disappear.
Right.
But you're working through it. And I know like kind of how are you feeling right now in a pandemic? Like you and other friends of mine who are pregnant, like it's like, here's one more obstacle to throw at you.
It's bizarre. It's like, we finally, at first I was kind of down about this whole COVID going on because I'm like, man, like it was my time. Like I finally got pregnant. We finally are starting our family. And then now I'm quarantined, and I can't go out and like share these small moments, my baby bump with my family. And that was really hard, but at the same time, a blessing too, because I was sick. I didn't feel good the first trimester. I didn't have to go into the office. I could wear sweatpants,
Yeah, because you're working from home, right?
Yes, yeah.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, so that was really nice. But yeah, it hasn't really sunk in yet. And maybe everybody just keeps saying once that baby starts kicking, like it'll start sinking in. So, and I had a major pee on a stick phobia, like our whole journey. So I only tested once at home. and it was during our third transfer. And we got a positive, but then it turned negative like hours later. And I think the test was defective or something, because it was
Okay.
sitting in my bathroom where there's no vents, and I don't know, maybe the humidity got to it or whatnot, but
It said a negative or what?
it said positive at
Oh,
first. It
oh.
said pregnant on the digital test. And then an hour later, we had tested again and it said negative. So it was just like,
Yeah, I don't,
so
I'll
crushing.
feel something. I never test it at home. Going
Yeah,
after our transfer, even in that 2-week wait, just totally didn't even go there.
yeah. It's smart. I mean, I don't know
Because I
how
didn't
women
want it to like mess
do
with my
it.
mind, but I never actually have ever seen a positive on a stick. It was kind of something I wish maybe I had gotten to experience, but I just
So
waited
did
for that.
you not do that after like your beta
Mm-mm.
positive?
I didn't do
Oh,
it ever. I did it trying,
yeah,
a year and a half of trying before we started fertility testing, checking the test, but
right.
no, I never did. So I never saw it actually like a positive. I just got that phone call from the
Yeah, yeah.
nurse, you're pregnant.
Oh
So
gosh. Well, and that too, like I had major PTSD when we found out that this transfer had worked. It was that real like snowstorm that we got in the
oh yeah.
beginning of February. So it
Uh-huh.
was like terrible.
You texted
And
me. I was
yes,
so honored.
yeah. um yeah, so the nurse ended up calling me, and I was so used to hearing, I'm sorry, it didn't work. Like I just, the tone, I had the tone down.
Oh.
And Ryan wasn't there. He was out getting us food, but she had called. I saw my phone ringing and I was like, oh my God, like just shaking. I wasn't going to answer it. And then I just answered it. And the nurse at the time had said, Jessica, I have really good news. It's positive. But I had heard her say it's negative. So I just started bawling, and she's like, no, Jessica, it's positive. You're pregnant. You're really, really pregnant. And I was like, I was a mess.
Oh my gosh. And Ryan,
Yeah.
I
So,
forget, how did that story go? You called him, or how did that go?
so I had the nurse call Ryan because he was at the grocery store. I was like, I can't even speak. He's not going to believe me. Like, you have to call him yourself. And so
Mm.
she ended up calling him and told him while he was picking up groceries.
Oh my
And
gosh. You never
yeah,
forget that phone call ever,
I
right?
know, never. Yeah. And I mean, I was like freaking out, like falling to the ground, just thanking the Lord. And
Yeah.
my dogs were like, what is going on? It's just,
Yeah.
it was an overwhelming feeling for
That's
sure.
such a good story. Well, and Kauai, you were talking a little bit about that. You went to Kauai, and that has such a special significance for you. Can you share just a little bit about
Yeah.
why?
So we went there in July just to kind of like clear our head and be on vacation and be by us. And we had prayed all over that island. Like I forget what the leaves are called, but we had taken leaves and like wrapped stones in them and like stuck
Yeah,
in the little places and prayed like to the island. And
that's so sweet.
I mean, the place, it's just so magical out there. And
Yes.
there was a birthstone that was there that we like ran across, and some like tour guide was talking about it with like a group of people, and had ended up saying that like this is where all the queens and mothers came to give birth. So
That's
we ended
wild.
up, yeah, it was so cool. So we ended up praying at that birth rock and like praying to these queens and
Mm,
mothers, like, please just bless us with a child. And yeah,
I
so,
love
and
that.
yeah,
And
it's
we've
just
talked,
amazing.
and just connecting to your baby's soul, like that spirit
Yes.
is there. And I don't know if you took my advice to like write your baby a letter. Did you ever do that as far as writing?
I started,
You start.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and it's still like I read all these apps, and it's like start talking to your baby and start singing songs to him, and it's been very hard for me to like connect, not because I don't know. I mean, I love this baby so much, but it's
Right.
just hard. It's my brain is having a hard time catching up,
And I had a
you
conversation
know?
with a friend yesterday, fellow fertility sister, and when you've gone through this process, and both of you have gone through like 8 to 9 years of this process,
Yeah.
it's just it's hard to wrap your brain around when you're pregnant and then just embracing that. But
It is.
unless you've gone, you know, you just can't fully appreciate what it's like until you've lived this. And my goodness.
Right.
I mean, and I love that you are so active and vocal and using your voice in the infertility community. And we're celebrating National Infertility Awareness Week wearing our orange.
Yeah.
What has helped you the most? Can you share a little bit about like what's helped you and why do you feel compelled to use your voice in this community?
I honestly, the bond that I've created like with these other women and warriors, I didn't have that for many, many years. I just started my Instagram account and being vocal to the public about our journey about 2 years ago. So, I mean, that right there has healed me like in so many ways. And I know it's so scary to be vulnerable and put yourself out there like that. Like I remember the first time I shared our story, I had a pit in my stomach. I wanted to vomit. Like,
yeah, you're opening yourself up, right?
Yeah, it was like I was just so afraid of the judgment. But all I got back was love and support and just support. I mean, that was the main thing. And it was healing and empowering. And so I try to do that, like with sharing our story. And even if it helps just one person,
exactly.
It's all worth it.
Well, I love like what you're doing and you're sharing, you're promoting others. You're just such a big cheerleader for everybody. And I think you're hopefully feeling that love back to you.
Yeah, I am. Like every now and then I'll get messages like, oh my gosh, your story is inspiring me. Because of you, I'm sharing my story, or I'm switching fertility clinics. And because I'm a big advocate for that. Like if you're not happy at your clinic, don't feel like you're held back, because that was the biggest mistake that we made. Because we had embryos there. We just felt like we had dedicated so much time and energy and money to this group and this team. But
that's really good advice. Can you think of any other little bits of wisdom you would give other women who are starting in this process, like things that maybe you would have done differently, or things for people to consider when they're starting out?
Yeah, so I know a lot of women they do like a special fertility diet, and I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't want to give advice, but I did that. I did everything. I did acupuncture, yoga, like you name it, I did it. Hypnotherapy, like everything. And that was for all of our IUIs. And then our first IVF round. This second IVF round, I didn't do anything. I ate what I want. Like I drank my occasional glasses of wine. Like I went out, I went to concerts.
Yeah.
I didn't restrict anything. And I think that right there had a lot to do with just my mind was healthy,
Yeah.
It was happy.
I totally agree. I write about like still living your life, you kind of want to have everything in moderation. Like same with you. I had occasional glasses of wine or, occasional coffee indulgence drink,
Right.
It's like that. But I think you're right. The more you restrict yourself, it's almost like the more resistance you're creating to allowing things to just naturally kind of unfold.
Yeah.
That's an interesting reflection when you kind of just stop doing. You just and you surrender, right? Like there's such an element to this of just surrendering, letting go. I mean, through the whole journey, we have such different paths. I mean, mine was relatively easy with one transfer, one embryo. That was our part of our story. But you all 6 rounds of IUI, 4 rounds of IVF. So you have quite a lot of knowledge in what you've gone through.
Yeah. And that is the biggest thing, is to surrender. And it's so hard to do that like at the beginning of your journey, because I was tracking everything. Everything had to be perfect. And when it came down to it, like I wasn't in control of any of it, or Ryan wasn't either. Our doctors were. But it's.
I think when you say you weren't in control, like you weren't in control of the process, but you were, like you said, in control of the way you were living your life and kind of thinking about I'm not gonna let that restrict me, or
Right.
you indulge in something. Like, those were choices, and those are things I think you took control over.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And I think empowering people through this ride, I mean, there's a lot more that I think we can control than people realize. And yeah, mindset, energy, all of that. And I know you have like a side kind of work you do with making jewelry.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about that, because I think it's so beautiful, like what you do. And I don't know if you're still creating during this time.
Not right now, but I want to get back into it. But yeah, during our first IVF round, in a way to, afford all the medications and whatnot, I just started selling jewelry. And it's called electroform jewelry. So it's taking copper and like transposing it onto an object. And of course, I'm not wearing any of it right now, but yeah, it was really fun just working with like crystals and different types of metals and working with my hands. So it was very distracting, which was good.
Therapeutic when you're engaged in art and that kind of activity.
Right.
I want to connect with you outside of this call and talk, because I would love to look at more of your pieces and crystals and
yeah.
I think it's beautiful work. You donated to the fertility walk last year.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. But that's definitely one thing that like I recommend to women that reach out to me now. Like, do you have a hobby, or do you do something with your hands? Because that was the biggest thing for me, my hands, and just a de-stressor, like painting or calligraphy or writing like you do, or
yeah, no, it's hugely therapeutic when you get in that flow, and then your worries just kind of drift away a little bit. And you're so wrapped up in this process, it can just take over your life, and it feels like it's all consuming. So if you have a passion, different hobbies, yeah, I'm a big fan of promoting that. So thank you for bringing that up. Any other things you'd like to share? What are you most looking forward to about becoming a mama?
Honestly, dancing with my little boys. Like, I can't wait. My husband is not a dancer.
No.
He danced with me once, and it was at our wedding. So I just keep telling him, I'm like, I'm gonna dance with this baby boy like all the time. Like,
oh my gosh! What was the concert you and your husband met at? What band do you remember?
It was the Blues Traveler, like 4th of July.
4th of July. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Oh, well, your baby is sure loved already by so many. And when do you due? When is your due date?
October 14th.
Oh my gosh.
And my birthday is October 5th, which is kind of weird. So everything is just kind of matching up like perfectly. I did want a fall baby, so yeah. It's really cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just love you. I love the voice that you bring in this community, and just how we got to meet and connect, connecting through a mutual soul sister. I mean, it's just, I love how you've come into my life, and I'm always here to support you.
Thank you so much. Well, you've been a huge support, and thank you for asking me to do this. And this is totally out of my comfort zone. When I started my Instagram account, like even filming, it's scary,
I know.
Whether you're writing or vocally, doing videos or whatever. It's
believe me, I still get a little nervous when I do these. I'm not a perfect by any means. It's just, I love featuring women like you who've ridden this ride, who have just such wisdom to share, and hopefully others can gain hope from this and some inspiration and helping them on their journey. So thank you. And any other ladies, reach out to me or Jessica, and I'm here for you as a fertility sister. I provide one-on-one support, and you can reach me at ivfmanifestingamiracle.com, and I'll link Jessica's page, but I know many of you already follow her. So thank you. Bye.
Bye.